viewers, and wish you all a very happy Deepavali. Tonight, we debate censorship. Former Censor Board Chief and filmmaker Pahlaj Nihalani has moved the Bombay High Court after CBFC ordered several cuts in his movie Rangila Raja. But the court right now has refused an urgent hearing on the plea. Now here is what is interesting. Pahlaj Nihalani, the Sanskari Censor Board Chief of Once Upon a Time, has now turned into a rebel producer. Pahlaj Nihalani, who objected to 90 different scenes and dialogues in the Udta Punjab movie, is today upset about 20-odd cuts or changes that the censor board is asking from his upcoming film. Now, many are actually calling this karma. Others are laughing about the irony in the situation. I'm not going to sit here and slam Pahlaj Nihalani or joke about it, because there is a larger debate that I want to have. And I believe, just like anybody else, if Pahlaj Nihalani wants to make movies that are filled with B-grade jokes, filled with badly written puns, and have dirty, vulgar dialogues, or are genuinely just sex comedies, that's his choice. It is our choice as a viewer to decide whether or not we want to watch that movie. The debate that has gone on in this country for a really long time, which is about the Central Board of Film Certification doing just that, giving a certificate, not deciding whether your movie is sanskari enough or not deciding on whether the kissing scene in the Bond movie is too long or too short. The CBFC viewers, I believe, should only focus on giving a certificate, giving a rating to the film that helps us decide, that helps people decide, families decide whether or not they want to watch that movie. Now, Pahlaj Nihalani may think that he is being targeted, that his movie has nothing unsanskari, that his movie is simply a funny movie or a Rangila movie. That's not the point. The point is, does he have the freedom to create whatever he feels like in this country and bring to you? I mean, seriously, in the world of internet, where almost everything is accessible on the internet, unrestricted, with no conditions, why should we be sitting and censoring films from theaters? Censoring dialogue, censoring scenes, deciding on whether the clothes that a woman is wearing is okay or not? That is the big question I'm asking on this debate tonight. But before we move to the debate, we've got the former CBFC chief, Pahlaj Nihalani, filmmaker, producer behind Rangila Raj, joining us right now. Mr. Nihalani, my question to you, what is it that you're objecting to? Why are you so upset with the CBFC?
Yeah, so already they say, why you are talking about my past? That I have given when I was on the chair, I was following the guideline, and according to the guideline, I was just objecting it. My committee was objecting it, and I was giving the decision on them. And now, whatever they have cut from my movie, that is not according to the guideline. And that is not acceptable to, if Rama comes in the guideline, Sita comes in the guideline, and Hanuman comes in the guideline in a positive manner, so then I think I should not take the objection in it.
No, so that's as far as responding to people's questions that this is just karma happening to you because what you did as a CBFC chairperson is now happening to you. But I want to understand from you, what is it that you're objecting to tonight? Tell our viewers, why do you have a problem with the CBFC?
I'm not satisfied with the decision of the examining committee. I felt that my picture deserved UA without cut, but fortunately I got the disclaimer, 3 disclaimer and further cuts. So around 19 cuts are there, which I am not agreeable to, not a single cut.
Mr. Nihalani, you told me in your first answer that this is what they are right now telling you to do is not as per the guidelines. Now, you say it's not as per the guidelines, but how is it? Explain to us, how is it any different? Because from what I have read, some of the dialogues do sound double meaning. Some of the dialogues do have a sexual connotation to it, which is what the censor board seems to be objecting to right now. So when there is a dialogue where you mention Eklavya and what he did for his guru, and the woman then replies by equating it or by answering back and comments about her lips, should that not be objectionable as per the guidelines?
Yeah, so already they have conveyed me that dialogue has been waived, but I think कि अगर मेरी फिल्म में कोई किस नहीं है, कोई वल्गैरिटी नहीं है, कोई ऑब्ससेनिटी नहीं है, 20 फीट दूर से जो है ना बोला जाता है कि अपना अगर अंगूठा जो है एकलव्य ने अपना अंगूठा काट के द्रोणाचार्य को दिया तो आप मेरे होठ काट लो. होठ तो वैसे भी खुद ही कट जाते हैं, बात करते करते होठ कट जाते हैं. तो व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ की होठ काट देने का? व्हाट इज द वल्गैरिटी इन दैट? एंड विच गाइडलाइन इट कम्स? I want to know that. There is no kiss in my movie. There is no smooching in my movie.
Of course, we know that you've always had problems with kissing and smooching being shown in films when you were the censor board chief. But Mr. Nihalani, the idea of this conversation with you today is not just to understand why you are taking on the censor board. I want to talk to you about censorship. Do you believe that now is the time that the CBFC just simply resorts to giving certificates and grading the movies? Would you agree with that, that it's high time we do that?
See, once they have formed the committee, and from 1968, CBFC and government is forming the committee to be a liberal, okay? But they, in 83 also there was formed, that time I was not a chairman, I was not harsh in that time also, I was also applicant that time also. And after that, in 2011, that they formed Mudgal committee before I entered into the CBFC chairperson. After that, again, when the industry was unhappy with, certain people were unhappy, not all. Certain people were unhappy. Those people, because of that, government has made the committee and Shyam Benegal committee, and they have spent lot of money on that committee, and they have taken the view of that committee, because himself, who was the chairman of Shyam Benegal, was a Mudgal, this committee. He was also suffering from the first movie, whether it's a Nishant, whether it's a Ankur. In each and every movie, he got A certificate, and he was harassed by the CBFC. So he was very liberal to form the rules and regulation and act, but government has not implemented. But when the election is there, now in 2019, so government has decided to back the producer from the back door. And whatever they are demanding, they are clearing the picture which we were objecting it in my tenure. We were following in the guideline. Now because certain producers were unhappy, so now they are helping, like the Veere the Wedding. If you saw the movie, you know what is the content in that movie. You have seen Khamoshiyan. What's the content in that movie? When everything has been passed in that movie, and in my movie, there is not a single double meaning dialogue. Is the only one dialogue is there. That also they want to cut. कि जब जब रावण सीता का हरण करेगा तब तब राम का साथ देने हनुमान आएगा. मुझे बताइए, बीजेपी is asking the vote for Ram, and they have not built the Rama temple. And if I am taking, they have a copyright in that कि राम वही बोल सकते हैं.
No.
मैं राम अगर फिल्म में यूज करता हूं कि हनुमान उसका साथ देगा, तब उसको ऑब्जेक्शन आ रहा है. ये डबल मीनिंग है. तो मेरी पिक्चर में डबल मीनिंग डायलॉग है. अर्जुन अगर तीर चलाने में एक्सपर्ट है, तो मेरे ये डबल मीनिंग है.
Mr. Nihalani, the point here is you saying they are after you. Why are they after you?
Because they feel that I have not heard them. जो पिक्चर पास कराना चाहते थे मुझसे, मैंने नहीं पास की. और मैंने मतलब 40 दिन मेरी पिक्चर नहीं देखी प्रसून जोशी ने. तो मैंने जब मीडिया में गया मैं कि मेरी पिक्चर नहीं देख रहे, अपने दोस्तों को फेवर कर रहा है, आमिर खान को फेवर कर रहा है, तब उन्होंने मेरी पिक्चर को डेट दिया. अदरवाइज तो 1 महीना और डेट नहीं देते. जब मीडिया में मेरा जब कोर्ट आया कि मेरी पिक्चर नहीं देख रहे because I wanted to release the picture on 8th, I have shifted to 8 to 16. Then only he gave me the date, and after giving me the date, committee, all the new people were there on the committee. No experience. That was the first movie they watched my movie without any workshop. And even the RO, regional officer, he is also new, temporary. He has appointed for the temporary. He will go on January or February. So he don't have any experience. Such people are sitting in this thing, and he is working as a proxy chairman, because chairman has to clear the desk of all over India, and he is clearing on his behalf. So how can I go even on the revising committee? So that's the main issue. Otherwise, I would have gone in the revising committee. Chairman is not sitting in the office. He is not looking into the CBFC. Producer in the big problem. Because he is favoring, because in my tenure, there was a transparency. There was no corruption. There was no brokers. Everything was online. Everything was going on the system. Now government is closing their eyes. They have given the free hand, and because what the government wants from Professor Joshi is delivering them. Because I was not delivering to them.
You're saying you were not delivering. You said you also said you blocked some film. Which film was this? Will you be willing to share with us? What is this film? Was it some big star that created this problem?
Not block. They want government. Government wanted to block that picture. I have not blocked that picture. Urta Punjab, they want to block. Even title they wanted to block. That even producer doesn't know that. Because I always go with the merit of the movie. I go with the, whether it's my enemy or my friend. I don't care for anything.
All right, Mr. Nihalani, thank you so much for joining us and telling us your story. One can only hope, because I stand against censorship, and I have a view that nobody's work should be censored, that even your film goes through, irrespective of what the content is. Let's go across to our panelists now. The larger debate about censorship. Akashdeep Sabir, film director, joining us from Mumbai. Mukesh Tyagi, also film producer. Murtaza Ali Khan, film critic. Prachi Adhikari, film actor. And Sandeep Munjal, spokesperson for Sanathan Sanstha, with us. I'm going to go across to Akashdeep Sabir first and ask him this question. Akash, all the ironical jokes apart from what is happening to Pahlaj Nihalani today and the fight that he's having with the CBFC, the fact of the matter is, it's the same problem that we've discussed repeatedly over the last several years. Do you believe that we need to now move on to the stage where censor board is not censor board but just a certificate board?
Sorry, just repeat your question, please. What do we?
Do you believe that the censor board should stop acting like a censor board and simply be a certificate board, which is what it's actually named?
I have been on these debates earlier, Tanvi, and there was a time when we all fought that do away with censorship, let there be self-censorship, but it will come with its own problems. I, for one, what I'm seeing off late, I think Prasun is doing a great job, and there is no complaint from the film industry as regards censorship. Pahlaj is now on the other side of the firing line, and he has some issues. I think he should take the judgments and the cuts offered by the censor board with grace and comply and take a censor certificate and release the film, rather than get into statements that the government is trying to block films and this was happening and that was happening. I think that mess is over, and it's just not going to go down well with the fraternity that now the new team is being accused of being biased towards him. There's no such thing. And I don't see a reason why Prasun would be biased towards Pahlaj. It's not, it's got nothing to do with a predecessor or somebody replacing him. In fact, the whole industry earlier felt that the earlier chiefs were pandering to the government. And Prasun, being the kind of person that he is, offers logic on a reason for a certain cut and has often cleared off late films that could even be termed highly controversial in Pahlaj's time. But he understands the director's point of view, and sometimes things are past, and Pahlaj's grievance may be why my X line, Y line was cut in this film and similar stuff's gone in another film. See, guidelines are there. It's the director's approach. If it's being done vulgarly, if it's being shown vulgarly, if it's being done to titillate, and that, if that is cut, it's a different thing. So, leaving that aside, to wind up my answer, I would want to tell you that some kind of censorship must remain, otherwise anyone and everyone can just end up making a film, and there will be no line to draw, and class and crass will mix.
I'm a little surprised with your answer, Akashdeep, and like you said, we've had a lot of these conversations in the past as well. So let me ask you this question.
I am surprised because, see, now if Pahlaj makes...
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I said if Pahlaj makes a film which has 25 double meaning dialogues and 25 double meaning gestures, or anybody else makes it, and we've reached a stage in India where there is no censorship, that film will hit the marquee. What are you going to do?
Okay.
Crass, dirty cinema will also come up.
So are you then saying, okay, that's exactly where I was going.
I mean, in a democracy,
that this won't be the first film. Let's just say, I think Pahlaj Nihalani has made enough of these films. A lot of other film directors, even the contemporary ones, and those films are still getting made, ones which are layered with, you know, sexual connotations and patriarchal sexist jokes where women have to be, clad in clothes that barely cover any skin, even if the script doesn't demand, and that goes on. Now, my question is it a problem simply because it's Pahlaj Nihalani who's doing it, or are you suggesting that all of this content should now just be done away with, that we should simply start saying that this is not acceptable in today's society?
No, I'm sorry, I'm getting a little poor audio. My first point to you is that the censor board, being a kind of a watchdog over the final release of a film, ensures that nothing crassy, vulgar, beyond what is morally allowed or what is acceptable in today's society to the level that we've evolved to is shown. If you do away with censorship, like it's happened in the digital world in web shows, there's complete nudity. Some people are doing it with class, but now very soon you're going to have a lot of ruckus and a lot of problems there, where in this new digital age and this medium of web shows, some people are just going to use top to bottom nudity just to titillate, just because they've got this new platform. You are very right when you're saying that in my earlier debates I was always fighting that there should be no censor board, there should be self-censorship. But problems like the one that started today when I heard, and I feel that there will be now more and more people coming up to, if there is no censorship in cinema, and making the kind of films that they feel like, and they may probably not have the aesthetics, we will end up in a huge problem. I was about to say little bit, huge. And that is the only reason why I'm not exactly backtracking, but we have to find a middle path. I mean, I don't like this constant censorship in 2018 when the digital era is already so strong and powerful.
Let me take it across to our other panelists.
To still have content that is watched, but we need a middle path.
No, so see, either we go ahead and take a very sanskari stand, which frankly then Pahlaj Nihalani can take credit for, because he really became this very censor board chief who had high moral values suddenly that he had discovered, and say none of this content and none of the cheap dialogues, even if they have big film stars in those movies, should be acceptable. And I am refraining from giving examples, but I think we all know, even of the recent times, those jokes, those dialogues, those songs, those posters that come out. So either we get rid of all of them, or we grow up and say, well, you can't really keep censoring, and to what extent? Movies in theaters, perhaps. Then what do you do when something's coming on television? What do you do when it's on DVD? What do you do when it's on the internet? And there is so much of content on internet, it's really difficult to regulate it there. So then where does this stop? And why should it stop? Why should I, as a viewer, not have that choice? Murtaza, what is your view on what Akashdeep Sabir is saying?
There is no denying that Pahlaj Nihalani has taken us back, by at least a decade. Those were the dark days. But let's not deny the fact that the Cinematograph Act that's in place, it's antiquated, the laws are colonial, and, it's high time we get rid of them. And at the same time, I just don't understand why the Sham-Benegal Committee's guidelines aren't being implemented yet. I feel I've gone through them in detail, and a lot of other senior filmmakers, like Rakesh Om Prakash Mehra and Kamal Hassan were part of that committee. And the guidelines they have come up with are very strong guidelines, and I think they are the way forward. So it's really perplexing that why we go back to those old laws. Everybody is talking about that we are living in 2018, that we are living in the 21st century, and yet why do we still follow those colonial laws?
Okay, Mukesh Tyagi, where do you stand on this debate? Is it time for us to do away with censorship and just bring in the grading system? And the interesting point that Murtaza is also raising, Sham-Benegal Committee's report is already with the government, but obviously there is no movement on it.
Yeah, there has been a constitution of Mudgal Committee, there has been constitution of Sham-Benegal Committee. All the recommendations have not been implemented. I agree with Murtaza. But in the immediate context, the issue is that Mr. Nihalani has preferred to go to Bombay High Court rather than going through the revision committee, which is number one. He is coming out with an excuse that Mr. Prasun Joshi is traveling out of country, but the rule says very categorically the senior most member can preside over the recommendation. So that excuse is certainly a violation by Mr. Nihalani himself, who was the CBFC chairman, and he cannot violate the rule at his own discretion. So I'm sure the court may not grant him the relief what he is looking at. So that is number one. Number two, after Prasun Joshi has come, he has eliminated a lot of subjectivity in the decision-making process. For example, earlier days when Mr. Nihalani was there, actually he reinstated this rule, which is very draconian as a matter of fact and subject to a lot of abuse, that once the cut has been given, it should not be discussed with the film producer. If you discuss the cuts constantly, then these producers will bring a lot of influence and corruption at the same time. So he says that we will only communicate the decision of the examination committee to the producer, and we will not share what are the cuts, because it will bring a lot of subjectivism, influence, corruption. And Rakesh Agarwal, or whatever his name was, he was known for making a huge amount of money because of all these lacunas in the system. Now, Mr. Nihalani's film is getting released on 19th of November, I think. Obviously, he's in a rush. Now, another thing, just give me one more minute, I'll tell you. The certification is the biggest scam at the moment, because if you have a certificate which is universal, then satellite rights are much easier to sell to Doordarshan, which is a big money. And that's why when it comes to cuts, these people want a universal certificate while the movie has got adult contents. So producer wants to have a cake and eat it too. Now, if he is happy with the certification of adults, obviously he will be deprived of getting a satellite right on Doordarshan, which is a big chunk of money. So why this constant tug of war goes on, the money is, huge money is involved, Tanvi, in this whole process. Okay. And that's why all the producers are blaming CBFC.
No, but here with Prasun, this is not happening.
So they are not disclosing their vested interest. Yeah. So this is exactly the whole story, which Mr. Nihalani is refraining to mention, that he's not going to get a U for the kind of double meaning dialogues or Khondke style of dialogues which he has. I have not seen the film, but Mr. I heard in your conversation.
He's actually looking for a UA, not U. So he's looking for a UA certificate.
No, I don't think Prasun.
UA is also very restrictive, because then you have to have
in Prasun's time, all this is not happening.
No, in UA again, you have to have a time slot. They want you, let me tell you, they want all the producers want you for the adult
gentlemen, may I just come in here and point out that I don't want to sit here and debate whether under Prasun Joshi the guidelines are being followed in a better way than they were under Pahlaj Nihalani's time or under the his predecessor's time. The guidelines are there, they are still subjective, and now it depends on an individual or the team that he functions with. My basic point is, should the guidelines be there to decide what should be allowed and shouldn't be allowed, or should the guidelines just say, if this is the kind of content you get U, if this is the kind of content you get U/A, if this is the kind of content you get A? That's about it. If you want to break it down into a few more categories, you're all aware that those categories are used globally and across the world. That's the kind of system that is followed. Prachi, where do you stand on this debate? If the content
Tanvi, but we don't have an audience that is as educated as abroad.
I don't
Tanvi.
think so. No, I refuse to. I will not agree with that. I think our audience is as educated and as mature as the audience abroad when it comes to film viewing. When it comes to film viewing and when it comes to understanding.
Okay.
Right. Okay, let me just bring in Prachi and Sandeep Munjal and then I will come back to you,
Let me give you an example. Let me put in an example.
Let me just go across to Prachi first. I'll come back to you. Yes, Prachi.
You want my view on this, right?
Yes.
Okay. See, when people are in certain position to edit or cut others' movie, then they have no problem. When the same thing happens with them, then they started, creating some controversy and doing half publicity on, coming on air, like, through the channels and saying that, this person, doing this against me or taking it personal. Rather taking everything personally, Mr. Nihalani should, go to, some court or somewhere else. I mean, why is coming on the channel and doing this debate here? I mean, he should follow the guidelines.
To the court
and
also,
we must
actually.
know, like, people.
He's gone to the court. Prachi, the question I'm asking right now is: Do you think that the audiences in India are mature enough to decide what they want to watch based on the certificate, or are we still in an era where we have to protect them and censor things?
Yes. Okay. See. Until unless the film is not promoting any drugs or terrorism or hurting any religious sentiment, a director should be free of, showing his script, whatever the script is. If he's talented enough, and I think he's talented enough, whatever he wants to show, and he must be free to that. And people are very smart. They know, they are very selective. If I want to watch the movie, I'll watch it. If I don't want to watch it, I don't want to watch it, I'll not watch it. So it's up to people. They will decide that whether they want to see the cinema, they don't want to see the cinema. But yes, it should not, hurt somebody's religious sentiment or, promote drugs or terrorism.
Yes, of course, because when it comes to religious sentiments, it's not up to people, it's up to individual organizations who, like the Karni Sena, who will come out and say, no, we object, so let's just, so are we now saying, that we've come to a point where terrorism and religious sentiments must be kept in mind, but maybe my sentiments as a mature audience who may not like, who may get offended with sexist jokes, I must deal with it.
I don't want India to go with,
No.
There are many, like if you go through that old movie, Beja Fry and all, they have more sexual content than this one maybe. Because
okay,
there are so many movies that have been made,
get it
and
from Sandeep Munjal also. If you
Sandeep Munjal, you go for this Houseful and all.
Yes, thank you for naming some of those movies. I mean, if this country can watch movies like Masti and Grand Masti and some partially several parts of Houseful, then I don't know what the problem is with what Mr. Nihalani seems to be making. So Sandeep Munjal, here is the question then.
And
if
the
censor board gives an adult movie certificate and says this is an adult movie, so be prepared for what comes, and our theatres are able to enforce this and say only adults will watch this movie, is it all right? Or do you think censor board should just cut off some objectionable scenes? Sandeep?
Of course, censor board has the guidelines and the rights also, and it should remain there, one. Secondly, there is a moral justification. Since most of the people sitting here in the panel belong to the film industry, so what I want to say here is, the Nirbhaya case which took place, later the convicts, they stated that they were motivated through the porn which they were watching. So of course it's the visual, it's the dialogue, it's the scenes which first they promote the kind of thoughts and then the action takes place. So the moral justification.
So far there has been no research in place which proves this. We have no research, we have no backing to prove this. That pornography or
yes,
that
absolutely.
sexual
Now
content
this is
leads
going
to
way
violence.
Like Grand
Sir,
Mufti
I
and
listen
other
to
people,
each.
they get us releasing certificate.
I listen to.
How come these other
I-
adults...
okay, let her finish your point.
I listen to
movies
each and
that
everyone
contain adultery,
quietly.
how they get...
No, this is not
Let me
true.
finish.
Okay. Let her finish. Let Sandeep Munjal finish, and then you all
Let
can
me
respond.
finish.
Miss Munjal,
Let
do
me-
finish.
I have an
And when you
objection, madam.
finish
That's
your
what I'm talking.
comments, while you make your comments, Miss Munjal, do keep in mind that what you say is going to just give an excuse to sexual predators to go out and
Tanvi.
commit the crime.
Tanvi,
Sandeep Munjal, yes.
Whatever
And
is
Nirbhaya
being
case,
shown,
the guy didn't watch
one,
any
it's the
Indian
reflection
movie, he
of
watched
the
the
society.
porn.
Second,
Sandeep Munjal, yes. Finish your point, please.
that is what I'm saying. Despite even in Indian movies, you find many such things which are provoking people to go on the wrong direction. So there is a moral justification to keep our movies in such a way that we are providing the right direction to the people. As the previous panelists say, most of the time we are motivated by the money. We create the controversies and we try to earn money through that.
Okay.
Being women, I would like to say it's our moral duty
No.
to
I
make
don't-
So
movies
now,
I
such
don't buy
a-
this
so now,
argument.
see,
Ma'am,
here
I
is a
don't
problem.
buy this
Here are
argument.
my
Ma'am,
two bits, and
That's
I know all
very,
my
very
panelists want to
regressive
come in.
argument, ma'am.
1 minute, 30
You
seconds to
cannot-
me, please. 30 seconds to me.
Come into your homes and teach you the moral
cannot
guidance.
stifle-
30 seconds to me, please, and then you all can go
You-
one by one.
you
Here
cannot-
is what
you
I wanted to
cannot
say, Sandeep
stifle the
Munjal,
cinematic
that the
liberties.
minute you
No,
start
ma'am.
giving this excuse, you're actually
I
giving an
don't agree
excuse
with
to
this.
all kinds of criminals, to all kinds of sexual predators, to all kinds of chauvinists, to all kinds of patriarchs in our country to go ahead and do the crime that they
Tanvi.
want to do, or do that act that they want to do by saying, ये तो चलता है, ये तो मैंने पिक्चर में देखा था. नहीं यार, पिक्चर में देखा था तो बड़े बनो, दिमाग लगाओ और समझो क्या सही है और क्या गलत है. पिक्चरों में देखने से अगर सब कोई सीखने लगे तो सभी कल विलन बन सकता है. हीरो की जरूरत ही नहीं है हमारे देश में. ऐसे नहीं चलना चाहिए. आकाशदीप सबीर,
Director is
one by one, please. One by one. आकाशदीप सबीर,
माँ बाप की
आकाश,
भूमिका नहीं
yes.
निभाएगा. डायरेक्टर माँ बाप की भूमिका नहीं निभाएगा. माँ बाप की भूमिका माँ बाप ही निभाएंगे.
अच्छा मैडम आपकी बात सुन ली, लेकिन दूसरों का तो सुनिए. आपकी बात सुन ली है मैम. अभी आप दूसरा point of view सुनिए. सबसे पहले मैं आपको बता दूं.
Okay. Yes, one by
Can
one,
I
please.
speak, please?
Ladies and gentlemen,
सबसे
the
पहले मैं
conversation
आपको
doesn't
बता
go
दूं,
anywhere
ma'am.
otherwise. Yes, Akashdeep
Can I-
Sabir.
Tanvi, can I come in, please?
Tanvi,
Next, I'm
can I
coming to
speak?
you.
या सबसे पहले मैम मैं आपको ये बात समझा दूं कि फिल्म और प्रवचन दो अलग चीजें हैं. अगर आप सोचते हो कि निर्भया के रेपिस्ट ने किसी सर्टेन पिक्चर देखकर ये किया तो सारी पिक्चर जो बाकी पिक्चरों की अच्छाइयां हैं, तो ये देश सिर्फ पिक्चरों की अच्छाइयों की वजह से चल रहा है कि सिर्फ जब बुराई को आप पकड़ोगे और बोलोगे. देखो, क्रिएटिव फ्रीडम को आप स्टाइफल नहीं कर सकते. सेंसरशिप बेसिकली डेमोक्रेसी में यू हैव टू गिव इट अप. लेकिन जैसा मैंने तानवी को कहा कि हम को एक इसीलिए मिडिल पाथ ढूंढना है, क्योंकि आपने ही मेरे सवाल का जवाब दिया दैट पीपल हैव प्रॉब्ली सीन अ फिल्म एंड कमिटेड एन एक्ट. That is why I am saying our audiences are not ready to be shown any and every part of cinema with just a mere certificate saying, oh, this is X-rated or Y-rated or Z-rated. Do you know the kind of ruckus that will happen in B-Town and C-Town theaters where people are not even mingling as freely as in the prime cities? Do you know if they are allowed to see this kind of cinema, you're going to, you know what is going to happen?
But
then you will blame cinema for degrading society. So somewhere being a filmmaker, I am myself feeling odd that I'm
Effectively, you're
getting
saying the same thing as
I am
Sandeep
feeling
Munjal
odd
is
that I'm
saying.
being forced to
That
take
too on
this
their mobile
stand.
phones.
Effectively, you're saying the same thing as Sandeep
Another
Munjal
lady
is saying.
said there should be no
certification,
religious, there
censorship
should
for
be no
cinema.
moral, there should be no religious thing. So,
You see, I am totally against.
no, but now one lady also said, I don't mind so long as there is no religious connotation, there is no this. So you are looking
Films
at
are about
everything as
entertainment.
right?
Films are about entertainment.
By saying don't do this, don't do that.
Okay,
Films
Mukesh
are
Tyagi.
about entertainment,
Can I
not
come
to
in,
teach
please?
Mukesh
anybody
Tyagi,
a
please, yes.
moral lesson.
Yes, Mukesh Tyagi.
Films are not your teacher. Film is
It
only
is
for,
about
you know, like
entertainment. You got to
entertainment.
keep your parameters in check.
Can I come in, please?
Yes, please.
What I'm trying to say is that Vijay Anand, who became the CBFC chairman, he had gone to the extent of saying, he resigned in the middle of his tenure, that we must even allow a very, very soft pornographic film for contextual creativity. Now, anybody who is trying to stifle the creativity is certainly making a huge motivation behind the film industry.
Pornography शुरू हो जाएगी.
नहीं. आप आपने pornography के लिए सुनिए, pornography कोई नहीं कर रहा. मैं तो कह रहा हूँ, can I
Yes, please, Mukesh Tyagi, let Mukesh Tyagi finish his point and then I'll go across to Murtaza. Yes, Mr. Tyagi.
Okay. Yeah. What I'm trying to say is that there is no business. There are a lot of countries who do not believe in censorship at all. There is a self-censorship in most of the countries. In United Kingdom, there is a private censorship. The film producers pay to the private censors to get the film certification done. There is a recommendation. There should be a film agency which should give to independent certifying agencies. Today, we do not have the competent members in the censor board today. They are not competent at all to examine the film. They are highly motivated. They are very politicized.
No, don't blame it on the board.
We need very, very professional agencies. And I'll blame on the board because look at the rampant corruption which in the board has happened. So we need an independent certifying agency to give that.
If we are allowed to release films with just a certificate and no censorship.
Then we will test the time. We will test the time today. Look at the laws, Akash. The film producer has to suffer for this complete jig-jag, political motive. Every time.
So here is my answer to what Akashdeep Sabir is saying about guarantee of the quality of cinema. Yes. No, but Akashdeep, if you are talking about quality of cinema, look at the West. They don't have censorship rules. They have certification rules. That doesn't mean that their filmmaking has gone down the drain. Look at what most countries do. It's a self-censorship. Now there they are not cutting out scenes. Everybody is doing it themselves. Their quality of filmmaking hasn't gone down. In fact, it is just improving by the day. So, and I think keeping in mind our skills, our talents,
art shouldn't have any limitation.
Our culture, I don't think it's going to be so easy for our culture to deteriorate. Surprisingly, I am the one who has more faith than any of you on this panel. Very quickly going across to one of our viewers on the phone line. While I hope our panelists calm down a little. Yes. Shekhar is on the phone line from Bengaluru. Good evening, Shekhar. Thank you for patiently waiting by. Go ahead, please. What's your view?
Hi, Tanvi. Happy Diwali, first of all. And what I want to tell everybody here is, I think the audience is matured enough to understand what kind of movies to watch, what kind of movies not to watch. We have got everything which is online. You got the Netflix, you got the Amazons of the world. And I think India, as a country, is progressing really fast. I think as long as it does not promote drugs, does not promote terrorism, and does not promote anything wrong, movies can come. And we're talking about Pahlaj Nihalani, who's made movies like Ilzam, Shola, or Shabnam Aankhe, which are really regressive and archaic. Somewhere we'll have to take a middle path in terms of censorship certificate, because there are certain laws which are prehistoric. We'll have to change a bit here and there, but as I said earlier, I think the Indian audience is very matured. Only if we give them a chance will we understand what they're all about, because I think our Indian audience is very intelligent. Yes, we have got a lot of people in the rural populace, we've got people in the middle class, we've got people in the cities, but somewhere there should be a way by which everybody can watch movies together.
Because making the films.
Right. All right, Shekhar, thank you. Always good to have you share your views on the show.
Tanvi.
Murtaza has been waiting patiently for a while. Let me just go across to him. Murtaza,
Tanvi,
the point that Akashdeep Sabir has raised, now I'll come back to you, Akash, and even our viewer was raising, finding that middle path. Yeah. Who will do that and how do we go about it then?
Firstly, I just don't understand why we don't trust our filmmakers and artists enough. I am sure, we have artists who are responsible and who understand their responsibility well. So they are very well aware of what they should show and what they should not. For grey areas wherein, we find it difficult to keep a check, we'll always have the censorship laws in place which will allow us to give proper certificates to a film. For example, if there is a certain content which is only suitable for a mature and adult audience, we have an A. For a certain kind of content which allows you to watch, but it requires certain parental guidance, we have UA. And the Sham Benegal committee comes up with a new proposition wherein it comes with a U 12 plus, UA 15 plus, wherein the UA is divided into two categories.
1 second, sir.
Let me complete, please.
Sir, 1 second. What about...
So, going back to the Sham Benegal guidelines, the UA category would be divided into two categories.
Which will stand for rubbish. but you will allow it to release.
Okay, go ahead, please, Murtaza. Finish your point.
Let me complete what I'm trying to say here. So as of now, we have three guidelines. U stands for universal. There is a UA, which is universal with parental guidance, and the third one is A, adult. Now, the Sham Benegal Committee says that you now have to divide the UA into two, which is UA 12 plus, UA 15 plus, and the adult into two. One is A, and one is adult with caution. So I'm sure that with these categories in place, the audience will have a better understanding of what kind of content is on offer. And if the parents feel that a certain kind of content is not suitable, they will keep a check on their wards. At the same time, the cinema hall should ensure that, these guidelines are followed to a T, and as long as that's been taken care of.
Okay, point taken. So let me take that to Sandeep Munjal. Sandeep Munjal, and this is what Prachi was also saying earlier, that a director cannot do the job of a parent. It is a job of a parent, it is job of a family and elders in the family to inculcate good values in young minds, not the job of a filmmaker. The job of a filmmaker is to explore his creativity. Now, why are we mixing the two up?
To show the art.
Of course, the job of the family would be done, but there are various other influences also. One of the influences cinema also, na. So cinema has to do its duty well. We are talking about mature audience. I'm talking about mature filmmakers and producers. We have given so many times memorandums regarding the films not being made in the right manner, like movies like PK, movies like Kamal, Dhamal, where Mala Mal, where the objection is raised and accepted. It's very selective.
Can you please elaborate what's wrong with PK?
I think one needs the right kind of eye to know that I should point out everything. There were so many objections before the release of PK. There were so many objections after the release of PK.
People should choose what they want to watch.
Or if you do...
If somebody is roaming naked, I cannot roam naked. It's my choice.
It's not chosen
to wear clothes, right?
Ma'am, you're getting into
Same
too
way,
much of,
it's my choice to watch the movie.
Your kind of censorship must never be
It's my choice to watch.
No, so since here is the problem. Okay, Prachi, and then I will go to Akashdeep Sabir. Prachi, please, let Prachi finish her point, and then Mr. Sabir.
Movies like Houseful, movies showing it
in going to stop them from accessing internet.
One minute, gentlemen, 1 minute, please. Yes, Prachi.
Yeah, can I speak, please?
Those people who show high morals, their kids only go and watch porn online. I mean, they have problem with everything. A director is there to show art. Excuse me, wait a second. Director is there to show art and what he thinks about the particular character, how he thinks of the particular dialogues. And same way the artist has to deliver. If Amar Khan is saying a dialogue in a particular way, Kamal Hassan will say that particular dialogue in a particular way. What you think, it's your problem, not the director or the artist problem. Your director is not the parent. He is not going to come and feed morals. That's up to the parents. You give strong morals to your kid that he will say, I don't want to watch this movie.
Please?
Yes. Okay, so now I am going to take that point.
You do that thing, right?
I am going to take that point between...
Why the director will come and do this?
Right. Prachi, I will take your point and take it to Akashdeep Sabir and ask him this question. This middle path, Akashdeep Sabir, that you are talking about, who is going to decide? Will you get to decide, or will Sandeep Munjal get to decide? Or can Prachi decide, or can I decide? Who decides what is offensive and what isn't?
No. Exactly. Okay. Let me first take 10 seconds to answer Madam as she spoke. She's talking about the kind of sanskari censorship that we just got rid of thanks to Pahlaj ji. So please, ma'am, you subscribe to a certain point of view, which with my heart I respect, but maybe I don't subscribe to. I don't think films should be as sanskari and preachy as you want them to. And you can't decide what's creativity. Over and above that, people cross the line. There is a problem. We as filmmakers have already admitted and told you that. That is the only reason why we feel censorship should not go. And now I'm coming back to Tanvi's question that we still need to find a middle path, because I am sorry when you talk about the digital world. Some of my speakers said that digital world exists without censorship. Agreed. But just because that exists, if you take away censorship from cinema, it is going to create a lot of problems. Cinema is seen in public places, in public halls also. In fact, first, before it then releases digitally. So let's say you are not going to have censorship and you're only going to have a certification, and somebody makes
no, but that's not true anymore. People are making content purely for the online world now.
You create a new certificate.
There is no censorship.
Sacred Games is never going to hit the theaters.
So many
there is no censorship.
Who are now
moving
their attention towards the digital platform.
Don't forget.
They don't have the freedom and the luxury.
A film releases on the digital platform.
Can I please speak?
After theaters.
No.
Can I comment?
Okay, but
after theaters.
Not on the internet.
Not always.
Akashdeep Sabir, content is being made today purely for the internet platform, which is never going to make it to the television platform. So I don't think the censorship.
Everybody can be credited with aesthetics.
Can I come in, please?
Mukesh
It doesn't happen always.
There'll be a free
Mukesh
flow.
Can I come in, please?
what is
anything that is available on internet? You name anything, it is available on internet.
what is the benchmark for aesthetic?
There will be no censorship.
I may not be a creative person. Some of you are. What is the benchmark for aesthetics? What is the benchmark for sensitivity or morality? Who decides, Mukesh Tyagi? We all have different benchmark for morality and
putting
sensitivity.
people like Prasoon in the censor board who are rational.
Can I come in?
Mukesh Tyagi,
yes.
Can I come in, please?
Prasoon in the censor board who are rational and reasonable.
Yet we have had Manmarziyan.
People should not
And yet we have had
Please allow me to speak.
Can I just have Mukesh Tyagi responding, please, right now?
Please allow me to speak. Let me answer Tanvi's question. Please let me.
We've not even had such fiery political debates, ladies and gentlemen. Let's all calm down a little. It's festival week. Everybody gets to speak. Mukesh Tyagi first, then I will go to the other panelists. Yes, Mr. Tyagi.
Thank you, Tanvi. Thanks a lot. What I'm trying to say, we are missing the central point in this. There is no word called censor. In Cinematography Act 1952, there is no word called censor. But the problem is the fight is only of the certification. Why this so much of fight is happening? Because people are looking for a particular U certification for their film so they can have a universal viewership and unrestricted, unfettered rights to go out and reach out to the global audience. And that is a fight which is the real source of the politics. The moment CBFC says, I'll give you the adult certification, the producer is frowning upon it. No. So the whole issue, the conflict is of the interest between the producer and CBFC. CBFC does not succumb to his pressure of giving the U certification while the content is adult. That is
this is not the case.
And if you want U certification, then you have to give the cuts which censor board is asked. Please let me say why there is opposition to cuts, because they say if you want a U certificate, you will have to give these cuts in the film. Otherwise, I am not going to give you the U certification.
Please come in here?
That's the real fight.
Okay, running out of time. 20 more seconds to Murtaza Ali Khan, and then I wrap up. 20 seconds to Murtaza. Murtaza, I still don't have an answer to this question. Can we really come to a benchmark, or should we just do away with censorship or continue with the subjectivity that we have today?
We have.
The funny part is, while we all agree that Prasoon, a lot of things have improved, but let's not forget the Padmavat fiasco happened with Prasoon.
Yes.
The Marcel fiasco happened with Prasoon, and now we have reached a time wherein we have had to cut films even after they release, even after their certification, because of the pressure imposed by the fringe groups.
Yes.
So that is another issue that needs to be addressed, and that's why I feel that the Shyam Benegal committee is the way forward. But that's just the beginning. That's just the first step that needs to be taken at the earliest possible.
All right. I'm completely out of time, so I'm going to thank all my panelists and wish all of them a very happy Diwali. And here is what I need to say on this topic. The fact of the matter is, viewers, perhaps the government has had a change of heart. I don't know what's going on, but it doesn't seem like the recommendations made by the Shyam Benegal committee to overhaul the censor board are happening anytime soon. Maybe for political parties, it benefits that you have a little bit of control and subjectivity when it comes to censorship. But do we really want censorship in this country? And then where do you draw the line? And I've been harping on this fact all evening. It's not about what is the sensitivity and the moral scale of Pahlaj Nihalani versus Anurag Kashyap. Who decides what is acceptable and what's not? Who is going to say how much of skin show is acceptable? Who is going to say what kind of connotations and double meaning jokes are acceptable? What kind of sexism, what kind of patriarchy is acceptable in our movie? What kind of violence is acceptable in our movie? What kind of humor is acceptable when it even comes to religion in our movies? Who gets to decide? You cannot have a middle path for this kind of a thing. Either you become the audience that says we are mature enough to handle and decide what we want to watch, and that has nothing to do with our own sanskars, no censorship. Or you say, well, we are going to be that extremely sanskari society that says no to everything. Perhaps you just start having religious shows and mythological shows across channels and across theatres. It is time for us to decide what kind of cinema we want to create, what kind of audiences we want to be. Thank you so much for joining us on this debate.